So, welcome to another edition of Open for Business. I'm your host, Marjorie Young. Open for Business is a online show. We've been doing it for over 20 years. We used to run it on Comcast. We used to run it on the local broadcast, but now we do it online. And our show is to share tips and advice to small business owners watching that will help you grow your business. And today we are very fortunate to have Charlene Dimond, who just won the Savannah Scores BizPitch competition. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you so much for being on, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was a big day.
It was a very big day. Yes, it was very full of excitement, and there is some really tough competition, and I was honestly surprised that I was one of the ones that was picked. So it was a great.
I watched it and I was not surprised. I mean, you've got a great concept, and you're making it happen. And that was tough. There were 5 judges and you had to know your stuff. So seriously, congratulations. That's a really big honor. So today I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and we're just going to go one right after the other. So first ones are kind of easy. So Charlie, what's the name of your business?
The name of my business is Integra Nutrix.
Okay. So what problem does your company solve for people?
We help people with the fragmented medical care that they receive, and we help individuals with chronic diseases actually heal from any limitations that they feel they've been handed.
It's a really cool concept. Okay. So how did you get the inspiration to start this company?
Well, honestly, from years of working in the hospital, I did a very traditional route of nursing school and worked in intensive care unit. Yes, I'm a registered nurse, and I worked mainly with patients and their families because I would take care of young children. So you also had the parents as your patients as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found that it was the same. I could memorize what the treatment would be for each disease. However, it wasn't tailored to the individual child. And as a nurse, we are very passionate about being advocates for our patients. And a lot of times families would not know that there's another option to try for their child, or they would be too intimidated to ask the physician for it. But we're at the bedside all of the time, so we talk and get to the heart of the matter. And I just found, as my parents are getting older and family members, that people honestly just don't know the right questions to ask, and they don't realize that there are other things, especially with your lifestyle, that you can do to help your chronic disease or illness.
No, people really don't. They get into the doctors and they think whatever the doctor says goes.
Yes. And that is needed and great in many situations. I mean, it absolutely is. Surgeries, emergency care. But I feel for just your lifestyle with high blood pressure and cholesterol, I personally don't feel like just take a pill is the answer. And I feel like everything in the medical world has become so business oriented that you are spending less and less time with your own doctor, and then more and more about standard treatments. If your number is over this, you get this pill. And a lot of times it's either non-negotiable, or you just don't understand that there are things you can do yourself, like exercising and changing the foods that you eat, even in a minor way, just that can help you along without even needing the medicine or less medication.
You're actually a certified holistic nurse. And what does that mean?
That holistic nursing.
11 questions.
No, that's fine. That's all right. Holistic nursing is any type of nursing that uses the approach of looking at the whole person, meeting body, mind, spirit, and environment. So for
Let's do a
instance,
case study. Yeah, let's do a case
yeah,
study.
case study.
No names.
No names. Let's see, there is a woman who is in her early 20s. She's expecting her second child. And this pregnancy is a little different than the last pregnancy because she has pregnancy-induced diabetes.
Is that different than gestational diabetes?
No, that's the same thing.
Okay.
Yes, it's gestational diabetes. Um, so she works part-time. She has a 2.5-year-old running around, and now she has to alter the way that she prepares her food and what she can eat. And she came home with, pamphlets from the doctor's office on foods to eat, foods that to avoid, that type of thing. But she really needed someone to help walk her through it. She didn't know where to begin. It was overwhelming. And when you're in that type of situation with the pregnancy, you almost have to make an immediate change. It's not something that you can gradually do over a few months. So we did anything from actually going through the information that her physician had given her. And we just did simple things like, let's circle the foods that you are willing to try and just cross off the ones that are a no way. And then I met her at her grocery store and I followed her around. And as she picked something up, I would help show her what to look for in relationship to diabetes on the reading the labels and what would be a more healthy alternative for her. And then we did things such as she wanted to make sure she was checking her blood sugar right, because she's like, I mean, I know they showed me how to do it, but I just want to make sure. I'm really nervous. So we spent some time practicing that in a session. I spent time telling her that stress can increase your blood sugars. So I want you to find 15 minutes to sit alone in a quiet room. And your husband's just going to have to take over for 15 minutes and there's no two ways about it. And you're just like, okay. So there's different aspects of her life, like her environment, making it more quiet for her. Simple things like dimming the lights or taking a bath with a candle. I mean, simple things that really have such a huge impact on our health and well-being, really. And just every body system is intertwined. And
it's actually moving the needle. It's actually,
yes,
I mean, minus all the drugs, it's actually you with your tactics, with nutrition and exercise and relaxation, you're accomplishing things. You're letting the body heal.
Yes. Yes. We like to help our clients learn to help themselves heal. And it is different for every patient that walks through the door.
Absolutely. And with your background, you have such a variety of situations you've been in.
Yes.
This goes right up your alley.
Yes, I love it. Even with personal things I've experienced, I have had some tragedies in my life that I've had to overcome while trying to raise children and also expecting a child when something like that happened and going through a pregnancy. And in the years that I learned how to help myself heal emotionally from that trauma that I had in my life with my nursing background and helping myself find some harmonious balance in my life, I'm really like, you know what? I think we have something here, just something that we can blend anything from the traditional nursing services that are offered with holistic therapies that are around, whether it's guided imagery, whether it's some energy healing or healing touch, and then lifestyle coaching. I like to blend all of those elements together to help create the perfect plan for each person.
Well, what's so powerful about it is you've got the degrees behind it. I just, when I heard your pitch, I was like, that's going to work. So I'm really excited to be able to interview you and just share some insight on, okay, one of the questions is, how did you pick the name of your company? What's the story behind it? And
Yes. Okay.
that's a really hard thing for business owners on how to select a name.
It is. It's very hard. It is very hard. Integra Nutrix is actually the Latin translation of healing nurse.
Whoa.
And I know. And I wanted something unique and something that came from the heart, to be honest. And so I took combinations of words and found all kinds of translations. I would just type them into Google and see what Google Translate.
I bet that brand hasn't come up. I mean, that's what nobody's, yeah, I mean, that's a very brand specific.
So I would try combinations, and I finally was just like, you know what? I want to help people heal, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, and I'm a nurse, so this is what I came up with, and I just love the way it flowed. It just, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is the name. Absolutely. That's the story. And that's the story.
Well, that, I mean, and that is also your word of mouth. You are a healing nurse. That's beautiful. Yeah, and we know that word of mouth is 82% and 92% how new business comes into you. Okay, so how are you marketing now? What have you found is the most effective for getting these types of clients, like this woman with gestational BDs? How did she find you?
Through her OBGYN. I was born and raised in Savannah, and I've always worked here. So I do have, and I have 6 brothers and sisters. So we do. So somehow, somewhere, I honestly just know a lot of people, especially in the healthcare industry. And I wrote a letter announcing what I was going to do and what my new business is. And when I can, I try to stop in and give my cards. And then I do have a Facebook group where people can join to help follow along if something's out of their price range to take advantage of any services. Then we do have a Facebook group that I have weekly challenges and anything that you can just join along and try to follow.
I mean, is that a free group?
It is a free group, yes.
But I would imagine by having that, then they get to know you, and then it turns into.
It does, yes. Yes. Yeah, and I think
that is that would be a very good tip for small business, because that's positioning you as the authority. So it must be, do you set it on private, or is it an open group, or how do you do that?
It's I think it's a closed group, I'm pretty sure. So other people don't see what we're posting, just because I don't want to give medical advice and it's general. And I like to know when people join, if they have any background that I need to be aware of, and they may not want everyone to know. So it's usually if people friend me, and I tell them this, if I'm at like a health expo and someone's very interested, I'll give them a card, say, just friend me on Facebook, and then I'll have you like the page, and then you know, we'll get you in the group, and then you can decide how much you want to participate from there.
So what happens during the course of the month on the Facebook closed group?
Sure. I will have just general wellness health tips. I have a weekly challenge, whether it is breathing that helps you relax and teaching you how to do that. And you are to practice it 3 times that week.
Do you do it live with them, or is it?
Sometimes I'm live. Yes. Sometimes I'm probably live about once every 2 weeks, but I do have a goal of stepping that up a little bit to maybe even like once a week. And then I have an email list where I write an article. I send that out twice a month, and then a blog once a month also.
Excellent. Excellent. So those are great tips. So small business owners, if you're watching this, try that. Okay. So what is something you wished you had known before you started your business?
How difficult it was going to be to get out there. I'm not a business oriented person. In case you can tell that I do I work for the heart. I want to help people. I would do it for free. And it's my passion.
Mhm.
So as far as business is concerned, I don't like doing all those ins and outs of trying to play a game or this is what you have to do. I like to just be me. So it's very difficult, and I'm way out of my comfort zone, even doing something like this or just putting myself out there. So that part, honestly, for me has been the most difficult. And then I feel like finding clients at first was very difficult. It's starting to get easier through word of mouth, because when I do work with someone one-on-one, they always end up, telling a friend, and, they've seen positive changes. So,
Are you
you
making
know,
sure they put testimonials on your Google review and
yes,
do it? Yeah, because that helps
yes,
in the ranking.
yes.
That's
So all of that, like that is a prime example of something I would never think of, think of to do, but with,
this is where I show when people watching that, this is the type of stuff that
yes,
either I bring out or the person I'm interviewing brings out. It's
yes,
we're the small business community. We're all in this together. The stronger
yes,
you are as a business, the stronger our community is going to be. So it's just an exchange of information, and if something is useful, they use it and they keep
yes,
their business. So, speaking of that, one thing I want to give a shout out to SCORE. So anybody who's
yes,
not heard of SCORE, it is free mentoring. And Charlene, or anybody who owns a small business or thinking about starting a small business, can call SCORE, set up an appointment, and depending on what kind of business or what kind of help, I mean, there's, I think, 11 or
yes,
12,000 people around the country that can
mhm,
help you.
yes,
So if somebody locally is not what you're doing, you can go on score.org and find somebody who is put in healing nurse, or
right. Sure. Medical is how I picked Michael, who's
of
my
course, yeah,
mentor,
yeah.
who I would never be in business, let alone this far, and I never would have entered the competition, the competition on my own. So I owe him a lot. I mean, he's walked me through even simple things like, okay, you need to contact the IRS and get an EIN number. And I'm like, I mean, he's taking me from, and another, it was actually one of the physicians I was meeting with told me, you need to call SCORE because, they're really going to help you. And I'm like, oh, I was like, okay. I mean, it was the best, I mean, by far the best thing I've ever done.
The
Absolutely.
fact that you actually reached out and asked for help, that is a huge step. Small business owners, a lot of times we think we can do it all, but
Yes.
there's so much talent out there, and they offer this for free. So
Hmm.
it's actually a statistic. If you have a mentor, you are going to make more money, and it's like 20% more or something. So
Yes. I can.
the secret to that is keeping up the mentorship on a consistent basis,
Yes.
not just jump in like, okay, I've done that. No,
Yes.
really use them as a consistent um, counsel.
Yes.
Yeah.
A- And Michael was great getting me out of my comfort zone, you know, and just making sure we met consistently,
Yes,
because
absolutely.
everyone is so busy, especially when you're trying to start something. It's very easy to slow down and be like, I just want to sit for a little bit. But, I mean, it's been great. I just can't stress it enough.
So that was a little shout out for SCORE right there.
Yay.
Yeah. So you are a very busy business owner. How do you keep organized? What tools do you
Mhm.
use? What do you recommend?
What works for me is putting everything on a schedule. I actually do, I'll have blocks of 30 minutes each day on my calendar. I work on this organization that I chair. I work on this on Wednesdays at 10, no matter what. I mean, I don't go to anything else on Wednesdays at 10 but this. So I schedule everything out. And I also have a turn on time and a turn off time for emails and texts, to where I only answer them once a day, the emails once a day, because I am very ADD, to where I'll read an email and just take off on that tangent.
Down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, the structure of a schedule is like, oh, I don't need to think about that until tomorrow. And that really helps, because I'm actually juggling about 4 or 5 different things right now. So it is hard, and to be efficient and not forget things or overlook something. It's writing everything down and scheduling exercise and quiet time too.
Do you use Google Calendar? I mean, is there a program that you really like small business owners could?
I use my day planner.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of
That's what I do.
significant brain some studies out there.
Studies.
What you would know that more than me.
I know.
But it's supposed to be really
You
beneficial.
actually you retain more from the fine motor skill of writing, rather than typing out a text or taking notes by typing.
Yes.
So yes.
Oh, good. Good.
I have tried to go online and have a computer. I would use Google Calendars, because it's easy to just click from phones to get it to populate for you. I've personally just felt I tried it for a year, like a really long time, and I just felt too scattered, because when I write something down, I remember it. I just do. So, and I do better that way. So I just do it the old fashioned way.
I mean, somebody might not have even thought about that. Now that they know that there's actual science behind it, they might.
Yes, I know.
So that's the beauty of this. Okay.
Yes.
So one of the hardest things with small businesses is figuring out pricing. That is something you definitely need to call score on, because it is all over the place. So what's the biggest advice that you have? And how did you figure it all out? Do you do packages? Do you do hourly? How did you figure it out?
Yes. Well, I first started off with just thinking, in my ideal world, what would I like to make per hour? Just in relation to nothing but what I wanted. So I had that figure in mind. And then I just started Google searching, and it's great with Facebook groups. I can join other nurse entrepreneur groups or health coaching, and see what other people charge, what the high end and the low end is, and then factor in any extra degrees or anything like that, and just kind of find a mean average of what works out there. And then I actually looked at the local competition last, because I felt like if I looked at the local competition first, that it would have affected my decision. So if I went into it with a number before looking at Savannah,
right,
I felt like I'd at least feel good if I was in the range. I'm like, okay, good. I just feel like it would be more authentic if I came up with the number without looking. And then I did start out with a per hour, but I have found that people stick to, if we're doing coaching, then people are more likely to come back when they purchase either like a 12-month package or a 6-month package, or, I have a quick jump start, So I think it's more beneficial.
Because people really have a hard time with that. I mean, you want to talk about your jump start package?
Sure. Sure. It is a month-long program, and it's really like, I take a good extensive history with your medications, your medical diagnoses, what your goals are as far as fitness and or nutrition. And then we just work over what we do once a week for 4 weeks. I usually do 2 weeks on, take a break or two to get those 2 weeks lessons down pat and practicing before we go on to the other 2 and communicate by email during those 2 weeks. But we have 4 in-person sessions, and of course anyone gets put in my Facebook group along the way. So yes, So I'll offer that.
And then how about if somebody like your OB, like your gestational diabetes person, like how do you do that?
Yes, I will do a longer package. I have 6-month and 12-month packages.
Packages and yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have longer packages. And, sometimes if people just need to come in, if finances are an issue, I will work with someone and see, what we can do. And I'll tell them about the free resources that I offer, just to, give them some information to even get started by themselves. And if it sometimes, just being in a Facebook group will keep you accountable. Sometimes that does help, and we'll come up with something that works.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so my last question is, if there's somebody watching the show right now that is interested in starting a business,
Yes.
what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
To keep going and don't give up.
Okay.
That's what I would say. Absolutely. No matter if it's going to take longer than you think, number one.
Amen.
So don't quit your day job. And just stick it out and keep going. Like, even if you're like, okay, I haven't done anything for 2 months. I haven't had a client for 2 months. Nobody's interested. You just keep going and keep out there and keep sending your newsletters and keep networking and going to meetings and offer, whatever it is. If it's a service, you can offer like a little free challenges or something like that. I would just keep going. That's really been, I think, once people notice the longevity, even if it's, you're not actually working and making money, it goes a long way to just be out there.
Absolutely. So if somebody would like to get in touch with you, what's your phone number and what's your website?
Sure. Okay. My phone number is 912-656-1806. And my website is www.Integra Nutrix, which is spelled just the way it sounds, INTEGRANUTRIX.com.
Well, Charlene Dimond, thank you so much for being on It for Business, and congratulations on winning the BizPitch, the score, Savannah score BizPitch 2019. That was awesome competition, and it was what
it was
well deserved. So
thank you.
See y'all next time.